Hey guys, welcome to Arrowverse weekly recap. Sorry it took so long. I don't know what was going on with my stream yard program, but it kept dropping my audio. So I caught it before we started the stream. So I guess that's a good thing so that I wasn't talking for this prolonged period of time with no audio. But yeah, so sorry for the slight delay in that. But now we are going to jump in. We have 4 shows to talk about. We have Superman and Lois, we have Naomi, we have Legends of Tomorrow, and of course, Batwoman. You know, my favorite show in the Arrowverse. So let's start off with Superman and Lois. So with the big reveal that Bizarro is the big baddie in the cave, we're kind of still dealing with the fallout from that and trying to figure out where he came from, what he wants, yada yada yada. A lot of things in this episode kind of got on my nerves. And then it really worried me because Superman and Lois is one of the shows like Stargirl that's so not touched by the Arrowverse writing 100%. And so when I see it creep in a little bit, it starts to it warns me that we may be heading down that inconsistent writing path that bothers the hell out of me with the Arrowverse. So case in point, the entire storyline in this episode, which is called the Inverse Method. So it's season 2, episode 4. I feel like the character Chrissy is a very flaky and poorly written character. And I feel like she's only in this series to cause challenges for Lois Lane. And what I mean by that is not just challenges in the sense of morality and telling the truth, but basically to get in the way of common sense. So it's like I really dislike how they write her. I don't know. I feel like this is a character that has so much depth and could be so complex, but she's really only a roadblock to Lois Lane. Because the longer Chrissy does not know that Lois Lane is married to Superman and can't tell her everything, the longer this convoluted story is going to be dragged out. So we're dealing with Lucy Lane being in a cult with a woman, I believe her name was Allie, and Lois rescued her per se from this cult like years ago and wrote this expose about her that, basically stopped this woman's organization for a little while. And so Lois is like, oh, I saved my sister. But in retrospect, Lucy never broke contact from this person and actually teamed up with Allie to not only discredit her sister, but to bring Chrissy, Lois's partner, in the fold by inviting her to one of the seminars or talks or whatever this Allie lady was doing, where Lois went and talked to her sister in her sister's motel room, and her sister was recording their conversation. And some of the stuff they were saying, like the fact that her sister Lucy was like, when I was with these people, they didn't force me to kill myself. I willingly took these pills. I wanted to cross over. They made it sound like she was traveling or transversing the multiverse. But Lois left that part out because she felt that Lucy was, drug induced and crazy. And so they took a video of that, showed it to everybody at the meeting. And of course, Chrissy's there basically researching Allie for Lois, and then literally gets turned because she's like, oh, Lois didn't tell the whole truth. It's like the story when your idol falls, you idolize somebody and then you meet them in real life and you're like, wow, you're actually a shit person. This is kind of what Christy and Lois's relationship is. Only in this regard, they're partners. And I did play devil's advocate and say that with Chrissy, as far as she's concerned, I get why she was upset during the whole, Kryptonians taking over people's, bodies and blah, blah, blah. And Lois not coming clean about her dad and what's happening with the DOD and all that stuff. So I understand why, as a reporter, from a reporter standpoint, when you're supposed to dig in and tell the truth, why you would feel in your feelings about it. But they write her like her and Lois were in a relationship and Lois cheated on her. So it's just such a weird thing. So yeah, we got all that crap going on, which is what it is. And then of course we have Bizarro. Bizarro is trying to get this necklace or pendant or whatever off of him, for most of this episode. John Henry is his suit's not completely, fixed yet. His daughter's helping him, even though Nat doesn't want her daddy to be involved at all, which I get. She already lost one parent, in the struggle back on their world. She doesn't want to lose her remaining parent. Nat is adjusting. John Henry, though, he's basically deciding to help, Clark with this Bizarro situation. And again, she is not happy about it. And so John Henry and Clark are talking. Bizarro, like literally legit, after Lois takes the kids to school, just literally shows up at the farm. And they get into it. And, they're basically trying to, Bizarro looks like he's trying to take out Clark. And then John Henry throws his hammer at him, which again, I love Steele in this. I would love for John Henry to have his own show. I would be scared how they would write and weaken his character, but I really like the guy, the actor who plays him. I like how he portrays Steele. I like it. So this is a very enjoyable aspect of Superman and Lois for me, is Steele and relationship to his daughter. Now, where another thing irked me is because the Arrowverse writing has to come into play. And even though I will say there's a little bit of realism in this, because Nat does not want her dad fighting, I already knew something was going to happen where he was going to have to fight, and more than likely he was going to be hurt. And it does occur when, Clark goes off to face Bizarro, and basically they get into this altercation, this fight back and forth. Bizarro actually ends up killing one of Anderson's Supermen. Like, I think two of the young kids that were like aiding Superman, that Superman didn't want out there because he was scared they're going to get hurt, and they got killed. So John Henry comes, even though he has very limited, energy in the suit, he comes and he ends up, knocking Bizarro out, doing one really good attack to prevent our Superman from dying. And unfortunately, he becomes basically a punching bag for essentially a Kryptonian, and he ends up in the hospital. And of course, Nat blames Superman for not protecting him. And I'm like, here we go. It's just like, here we go. Oh, why? Why? I don't know. I just feel like I get it. I get we have to have this drama. And like I said, I'm still not on the level of this is Flash, Batwoman level writing, but I'm just saying that this is still like, it's starting to tweak into that. I think more so with Lois and this Chrissy line, the Chrissy storyline and Lucy and all that. Honestly, I am not invested in that story. Even though the alley lady seems like a straight bitch, a manipulative bitch, I am just not invested in that part of the story, because I feel like Lois, the real Lois Lane, the one from the comics, should I say, like would have already gotten rid of this bitch. I mean, just what it is. So this is all Arrowverse writing tweaking in, and the Chrissy, playing the fence. Oh my God, I didn't know how Lois really was. Tell me everything you know about Lois Lane, from the person that Lois Lane said, end quote, this person caused my sister to try to kill herself. I just think that whole storyline is just garbage. I do appreciate that the mayor that Lana is basically running against is playing dirty by going after their daughter. And I for once am appreciative that Sarah right now doesn't seem to care. She's like, I'm not ashamed of what I did. Mental health is important, blah, blah, blah. So I am completely okay with that aspect of the story, because that to me is realistic. I mean, politics are dirty. So I could see him going after the fact that his daughter tried to kill herself. Like for some reason, that's going to make Lana a bad person. But I guess to me, it's just like, I wonder what other skeletons in the family closet are going to come out because she's running. So I'm very curious to see how that is going to unfold. So, I don't know. Like this whole, like I said, this whole storyline is very interesting, only because I've always felt like Bizarro should have been something that Superman already faced, because, if you're in the same universe as Batwoman and these other shows, and they've already name dropped Aquaman, and you have Batman who's been established for years. Why is Bizarro just now making an appearance? Like I would feel like, and the fact that Lois dropped a Doomsday reference in the last episode, previous episode to this one, it's just, they have these references and they talk about all these battles and all the things that they've been through. But I'm like, essentially, you're making it seem like you haven't been through shit. So I don't know. Like I said, it's all confusing to me. I mean, it's just what it is. Jordan going behind the family's back because he wants his grandfather to train him, which was inspired by the fact that he and Sarah were visiting a friend who's at a convenience store, and these guys are about to rob them of liquor, and Jordan uses a super breath to trip them up, and not realizing that there are surveillance cameras in there. So he calls his grandfather, and he he erases the cameras. And then Jordan's like, I need training. And the grandfather kind of, Sam actually agrees, because he's like, had you been trained, you would have known not to use your powers in public and to notice your surroundings. So I do love the fact that Jordan is trying to become, I hate to say it this way, Jordan is trying to become the prime Jonathan Kent Superboy we know from the comics, which is so weird since we have a Jonathan Kent in this universe. But so I do love that they're doing that. But yeah, I just think it's going to be interesting, especially since he's going to start training behind his parents' back. Lois is going to be pissed. Hell, Superman's probably going to be pissed. And Jonathan, who obviously is having a complex, and nobody's dealt with this complex in their family, because he's kind of the kid that everyone just feels is adjusted, so they just like leave him alone most of the time. But there's no universe where a boy is not going to want to have powers like his brother and his dad, and so he's going to fall into drugs and get hooked on that hype. And it's going to be very interesting. I feel like it's definitely going to be an interesting. These are plot points I'm looking forward to. This Lucy, Lois, Chrissy shit, I could care less. I just don't care. So that's kind of how I felt. I felt split on this episode. I felt like there are better things we could have been doing with our time. And Lois could have had a much better storyline. I mean, we already have her having abandonment issues with the mother, her having a miscarriage, like all this other stuff. Lucy just has her own garbage, and I felt like there's another way they could have brought that in besides this all cult crap. But it is what it is. And it's not the first time there's been a cult in a comic book, so I guess there's that. But overall, yeah, I'm excited for what's going to happen with Steel, because right now he's not doing so well. He's in the hospital. Nat's not happy with Clark, and she still has to live with them. I'm really curious to see how this election is going to go, and what's going to be dug up from that. I am very looking forward to the big showdown between Clark and Lois and his dad and her dad, when they realize that he's been training Jordan behind their back. And also I think the Jonathan storyline for me is probably the one I'm most excited about. So yeah, I don't know, but I mean, we might get Brightburn, and it might end up being Jonathan. And I will be so in my feelings, because that's so not canon. But, it is what it is. All right, so that's Superman and Lois. And I'll look at your questions. We'll come back to them in a second. Let's move on to Naomi, episode 4, Enigma. Another show that I have a question mark about. Okay, guys, I've been giving this 4 episodes. The content for Naomi in the comics is fine. I have no problem with that. The content for the Arrowverse version of Naomi is confusing AF. It is all over the fucking place. I don't understand what they're doing, to be honest with you. Like, I know the origin story. I've discussed the origin story of this character. This is not a character that's been around a long time. This is not an unlikable character. This show, and I'm just going to say it, guys, and as a POC, it makes me mad to say this, because when I talk about me not liking Batwoman, and then I tell you that I'm having problems with Naomi, you're going to think, not you, but people will be like, oh, so you don't like, these shows because they're POC led, but that's not what it is. I feel like the POC led shows are just boring as fuck. Boring, or Batwoman's concerned, convoluted and stupid. And it's just like, I don't know what it is. I mean, we did get a little bit more exposition on the background, the planet that Naomi comes from, some stuff written down, which again, if you saw my other reviews and I went over, what happened in the comics, we know that she's from another Earth where people randomly got godlike abilities and it caused a civil war, and her parents had to get her out before she was killed along with them. And that's how she ended up on Earth. And I also told you how her biological father, or her adopted father, that her adopted father is actually an alien, and he actually was sent to hunt Dee in the comics. Now, there are moments in this where it kind of seems like maybe they still have that relationship, like when the parents have him over for dinner, and they have this tense conversation in the way, pretty much her dad is like grilling Dee. But at the same time, they still act like these are just two normal people that found this child in the woods laying on a damn rock. And it's like, okay, it's just, I feel like there's a lot more meat to this, and they're taking their time revealing it. But it's in a way where it's just so slow. This is a slow burn show when it doesn't need to be a slow burn show. This is the one time you don't have enough content in the comics to have more story. Therefore, if you're going to make an interesting story, get the origin shit out of the way and then let's go. We are in episode 4 and I feel like we're still on the pilot episode. It's weird. It is really weird. I'm really trying to like this show. Now, one thing got resolved in this, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that happened, like her running for student president through peer pressure and all that in a second. She basically found we resolved a love, is it a love triangle? I mean, hell, it could have been 4 people at this point. I don't know. I feel like everybody thought she was a succubus and everybody wants Naomi. Everybody wants Naomi to be president. Everybody loves Naomi. Everybody wants to get with Naomi. Everyone wants to date Naomi. So Naomi, I don't know if this is another power we don't know about Naomi, but Naomi doesn't go through shit like a normal person. So it's like, nothing. She's not to me a relatable character because she's already at the top tier of everything in her life to begin with. So, the struggle for her is, who am I? How do I get these powers and why are people trying to kill me? It's nothing in her life. That's what's so interesting, is that this is the one character, which I guess if you're going to talk about the fact that stereotypically they always write POCs, coming from nothing or having really shitty circumstances, like, I don't know, Ryan living in a damn van with a plant. But at the same time, it's to the point where it's almost too unbelievable that she doesn't go through anything. No racism, no discrimination, no bullying. Everybody loves Naomi. And that to me is not realistic. And it's hard for me to suspend my disbelief. And so in terms of this like love triangle that we have between Nathan and Lourdes and what's his name? Is it Kevin? Kenneth? Can't even remember the other kid's name right now. This one of her Scooby-Doo gang. She basically decided on being with Nathan, which is the shortest love triangle that really wasn't established, but was kind of established I've ever seen in an Arrowverse show or a CW show. I mean, it was short. I was like, I'll be with Nathan. Then why the hell did you break up to begin with? Like, there's so much. There's just so much. And I know she's a teenager, guys. I'm not trying to take that fact out of when I'm considering what this character is, but it's just so weird. It's such a weird thing. I don't know. But anyway, so the biggest thing going on in their school, which as a military brat, I guess could track, because I don't think we had a lot of really big issues when I was growing up, in the late 80s, early 90s, in my military schools as well on base. But the biggest problem right now is that they have a girl named Esme, and she wants to replace their favorite candy bars and snacks in the machine with vegetables and healthy snacks. And they're like, oh my God, it's a decline of civilization. And Naomi, you have to run against her to get our snacks back. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me right now. I'm like, really? That's what we're doing? We're not dealing with an actual issue. We're dealing with the fact that there's saturated fat in the vending machine. All right, cool. So that's the level of this show. That's where we're at. And then on top of that, we get Zumbato. He's like, so she goes to Zumbato to look for the disc, and he like, he's like, you don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But then he gives it to her. And he's like, she's like, why would you give it to me? He's like, don't believe everything you think. And which is really, I hate when people just don't tell you shit. You know what I mean? But they do this in the comics too. It's like, just tell me what you think I should know. I don't want to wait 25 episodes for you to make that one sentence statement. It's just stupid, but it is what it is. And then when she leaves, a guy shows up with Zumbato, and he's like, Zumbato already looks at him like, oh, what the hell? And then he sent from their Earth, or basically from where they're from, to bring her home, to bring Naomi home. And Zumbato is kind of looking like, it was almost like, because Zumbato needs her, but at the same time, it's like, there's a lot more going on than what I even think the comic books let on. So I feel like they have this whole other plot about her Earth that we will probably not be privy to for many, 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 many episodes. And full transparency, in the comics, they never I don't even think to this date they've ever actually said the names of her biological parents, like, who they were. We know they were both like metas basically, but not or godlike. I don't even know if meta is a good term. I think godlike abilities or whatever, omnipotent type powers. But like we don't know who they are, their names or any of that I recalled in the comics to date. And that's why she went as Naomi, and later on when she gets the nickname Powerhouse in the Justice League. So like I don't know if they're planning. I mean, they could actually be planning on making up some parents for her in the Arrowverse, because it would not be the first time that they've reinvented an entire backstory or entire character for Arrowverse purposes. So her parents could already be on Earth, her bio parents. I mean, who knows? But the guy's after her. And at the same time, Naomi, she is able to track down Akira. So Akira is the one that tells her basically about the disc and how it's basically used for them to locate each other, which basically could mean there are a lot more of them already on Earth, as well as the guy that's trying to find her. And by her using her powers, Dee thinks that's how they're able to track her, because as long as she wasn't using her abilities, nobody knew what she was or where she was. But now that she's starting to use them, now everybody knows. She's on radar, basically, and they want to bring her back to her Earth. And the question is, question mark, why? So yeah, that's kind of the big thing of this episode. I mean, there's other things that happen. We have like the whole conversation between Jennifer and Greg, and we get to see a flashback of how they met and their wedding and how they found Naomi in the woods on a hike and all that crap, which is, again, the story of Greg and Jennifer plays out kind of like that. Although if you look at her in the comics, Jennifer was like this she was an artist, but she was like this punk rock, like gothy type, individual that, didn't want to live at home and had issues with people, and then ended up, kind of gelling with Greg, who was there basically under the guise. He took on this name. He was under the guise because he was there hunting down Dee. So I don't know if they're keeping that plot. I really don't. I don't know if they're going to keep that plot at all. I have no idea where we're going with this, because I would love for the big reveal to be that Greg's an alien, because he is a whole ass alien in the comics. So I don't know, guys. But right now, the parents just found this child after seeing something crash into the Earth after hiking for hours. And, they're implying that, Naomi's world is gone, but then they're also implying that it's not completely gone and that there's something to go back to. So I don't know. We'll figure this out. It's very confusing. And like I said, this is the problem that I have with this series, is that it's slow. There's a lot of unnecessary, shit in it, like the election thing. I don't care about. I just don't care about it. I also I'm continuously in my feelings over the fact that the children, because Naomi's still in her feelings about her parents not telling her they found her in the woods, which is a big deal. But she's been lying to her parents for the whole, since episode 1, basically. So it's okay for your children to lie to you, but you're not allowed to lie to your children. This is what parenthood in Arrowverse is hard, because as a parent in the Arrowverse, you are always wrong no matter what you do. And the children, you have to understand the children's rights. And I am old school. If my daughter talked to me the way some of these kids in Arrowverse did, I wouldn't have a child anymore. I mean, I will start over. So I don't know. It's a thing. And then the other revelation we had is that Dee had a lover, and that's why he has a tattoo, and that he never told this person that he loved them. And, it's something that he regrets. And that is why Naomi went to Nathan and kissed him and got back with him. And I'm like, it's so slow, guys. I will say one of the funniest scenes in this episode, though, was when Dee went over for dinner and the mother made chicken. And she's like, Mom. Naomi's like, Mom, he has wings. And she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, but he's not a damn chicken. I'm like, he's not a bird. I don't know. Like I said, it's a thing. So if you're asking me my opinion this week on Naomi, I don't hate this show. It's just really effing slow. And honestly, it's one of the shows I would fall asleep on. They really need to pick up the pace on this shit. Cause like we get a little bit of exposition and then all this filler. And I feel like I'm watching Naruto in a filler episode. I just can't do it. So yeah, that is it. And the Earth that she's from, according to Arrowverse, is Earth 29. And apparently a lot of people are after her. And I will also say this. The guy that tried to assassinate her, Dee ended up coming and fighting and saving her. And so she was a little traumatized from that. And then she goes and has this conversation, and Dee's talking about love. Why did she feel okay after that, knowing that people are hunting her, to go find Nathan in an open field after you just ran an open field and almost died? I would be fucking terrified because she has no control over her power. She froze when she tried to defend herself. That's why Dee had to actually save her in the first place. All of this stuff is over, but now that you decided to go get your man, then you can just walk by yourself, like nobody's after you still, and have this whole love moment. It's not consistent for me. I'm sorry. That is traumatizing. Somebody tried to take your life, and yet you still are completely okay enough to go make out with this dude alone, unprotected. So yeah, it's guys, guys. That's just all I have to say. That and the person that D was into starts with a Q, and I think I have an idea of who this is, but I'm gonna keep that to myself. All right, let's talk about Legends of Tomorrow. Oh, legends. So remember last week they were trying to stop this assassination from happening in 1914, which was I forgot somebody. They were in Sarajevo, but I think it was a minister or something. I can't remember the person's name. Forgive me. But and they were able to do that and prevent this great war. But then Sarah had a time limit. I think it was like 45 minutes. She had to go back and infiltrate the Wave Rider and try and get the Wave Rider back, or she was going to have to take Thawne's place as the guardian of this timeline, this particular moment in time, basically. So the Robo Legends. So this whole episode was campy and fun and stupid, and I loved it. So first thing, I will say this though, if I have a nitpick about this, I'm going to go ahead and start my nitpicker right now. Sarah and Ava are now married, and Ava got shot, and Sarah was kind of concerned, but she was still like, take my wife and we'll buy you some time. And then she went back and she's like, how you doing, babe? It was almost like you're talking to a friend and not your wife that whole ass got shot. So I guess I was like a little in my feelings, and maybe because I'm just really mushy with my spouse and vice versa. So like if River got shot, I would be like, what the fuck? I would not be emotionally handling it. And to be fair, I know they've been through a lot of stuff, but I still feel like even though Sarah can't die, if Sarah had been the one that was shot, Ava would be losing her shit. And we all know this is true. I don't know. I just felt like it was like, Ava was shot, Sarah. I felt like in this episode, Astra was having a harder time worrying about Gideon being hurt than Sarah was with Ava. So I don't know what's going on with that. So that was my nitpick for that. But it's very, very campy. So there are a lot of things going on. Astra did not like the fact that Gideon almost died. And so she's being a mother hen and like preventing Gideon from doing anything, outside of that house, or the in limbo house they're in, John's house that they're in. She doesn't want her to get hurt. She doesn't want her on the forefront of anything. She doesn't want her to go on the Wave Rider pretending to be the evil version of Gideon. She doesn't want her to do anything because she's terrified that she's going to get harmed. So in retrospect, because Esther's the one that conjured her, she is the mama. And Gary sees this, and they have this conversation in the episode, and he kind of calls that out. And I thought it was really cool. They really had this moment, and Gideon even referred to Esther as mom. And then when she did that, I was like, shit, something's going to happen. And sure enough, in this episode, Gideon gets stabbed. Now, do I think Gideon's going to die? No. Does it look like she's going to die? Yes. And they're not coming back, I think, until the end of February or early March or something like that. So they're on hiatus. So we have to wait to see if Gideon's dead. But it's like, So we do have this whole traumatizing situation between Astra and Gideon. And like I said, I love Gideon, Astra, and Spooner. I really love the BFFness between Spooner and Astrid because they had so much in common. I am worried that they're separating that and Zari is going to become more of Spooner's friend. Not that I don't like Zari 2.0, but I just really love the dynamic, like the friendship between these two girls. And it's the whole thing with me, like the whole Kate Bishop, America Chavez thing, and now Kate Bishop and Yelena thing in Hawkeye. Like I loved the friendship between Bishop and Chavez. And so I feel like this is another moment where I'm going to be like, stop separating my women. It's really irritating. So, and I'm just putting it out there. It could go back to their normal dynamic, but I always feel like when somebody gets in a relationship and they're BFFs, it's like that BFF becomes a non-point and then they have to go find somebody else to be BFFs with. And I'm really hoping, because Bayrod is with the Astrid now, that's not going to happen. And, you know, we're not going to have Spooner on the sidelines, basically bonding with Zari because that's Bayrod's sister, and they both feel abandoned by, Zari by her brother and Spooner by Astrid. So I'm hoping that's not going to be the case because that's going to annoy the hell out of me. But it is what it is. Mostly through this entire episode, Sarah's like, we can't ambush them. We're getting our asses handed to me. Ava got shot. Let's try talking to them. I'm like, no, why? Why are you hanging out with Barry Allen? Like, what the hell is wrong with you, Sarah? You know better than this. You know that's not going to work. And you're reasoning with robots. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I feel like Sarah was just grasping at straws because I think at some point, I kind of feel like Sarah's to the point where she's like, I'm having to come up with almost every idea all of the time, and I'm tired. Somebody else effing do it. So she even says, unless somebody has a better idea, emphasis on better, then how about we try this? Like, let's just talk to them. It works for the Flash. They talk to everybody. Like, Care Bear this shit. Yeah, that doesn't work. It does not work. There's also, so they started trying to also copy basically they're going in and trying copying the robots. And like, I think Bayrod actually concocted like this stuff to give robots diarrhea, which is, I guess I have a question about this. If your body is robotic, why would food or drink cause you to have any type of digestive issues? Because I feel like that's not how that works. I feel like if you were to drink something other than whatever's concocted to keep like oil or whatever to keep your body functioning, that it would corrode or do something to end you. I don't know. I don't understand that. But you know what? It is what it is. But the idea is to get them to run to the bathroom, use the key, drag them into the ship, and then like take them out, which they do push Dr. Ava and Evil Astrid into fire. Like everything was kind of going well, I guess, if you really think about it. But like, I love Zari trying to dress like her counterpart and having the exact same outfit, wearing the exact same clothes, same hair, so that when they get into a fight, nobody can tell the difference. I guess what's hard for me about that is if you're living in Constantine's house, I don't feel like he's going to have the access to that type of stuff. You don't have the Wave Rider to conjure up something for you that's going to be, the exact replica. So somebody please explain to me why Zari had the exact same effing clothes as evil robot Zari. So I try to suspend my disbelief, but I got to call that shit out because it's basically equivalent of me right now going down the hall, finding this outfit and coming back and putting it on and being like, hey, I got this too, when I didn't even effing buy it. So I don't understand that. That's why if you look at my the title of this stream, it's called Exhausted. I'm tired. I'm tired of suspending my disbelief. It's exhausting sometimes. So, but yeah, just playing devil's advocate. I know this is a campier show. It's not meant to be taken seriously. And these instances are an exact example of how you cannot take it seriously. Because there's no universe where Zari would have had all of these things ready to go. And it's not even her style. She didn't even own clothes like this. Ready to go and predict the same hairstyle, having never seen Zari at all, based on a very limited description that Bayrod gave her. I do love that a way that they were going to figure out which one was the real Zari was by swallowing them both and then spitting the real one out. And Gary was really going to do that. And I'm like, this is not a sound, solid plan. Like, this is not a good plan. And even Zari, after she, took out the other one, she was like, "You were going to eat me, Gary? Really?" So I'm like, I don't know what's happening, guys. I don't know. But so most of the team regroups. And Sarah does, after Sarah tried, they tried to talk. It didn't work. Sarah basically has to come to the fact that she's going to be taking over Thom's basically responsibilities and become the guardian of 1914. And she asked Nate to tell Ava to come find her. And he's like, "Yeah, we thought about it, but we're not doing that." And so Nate actually had the idea of tricking the egotistical version of himself into becoming the timeline guardian. Which is perfect, actually. That actually makes a lot of sense. Actually, it makes more sense than most of the stuff I've seen in the Arrowverse. But it's just how they got there was very weird. And so, yeah, I think it was Archduke Ferdinand is who they were trying to kill. But when they when it was when they found him, I think Sarah, to protect the timeline, robot Sarah ended up killing him anyway, which I think is really funny. But yeah, I kind of felt like most of this episode was just kind of like, eh. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was campy. It was just their legends being legends. The only thing that for me was kind of messed up was basically having Gideon be stabbed, and how they're gonna have that. Because I really am a little protective now of this version of Gideon because she's like a child, and so it's like, why are you hurting our baby? So I did not like that. I didn't like the fact that baby Gideon got stabbed. And I don't feel like she's gonna die. I really don't. I feel like if Astra could conjure her, Astra may be the key in saving her. So I don't have that. And at least they do have the Wave Rider back. So they got all the robots are gone now. So they have the Wave Rider back. So that's another indicator that they may be able to save Gideon. But it's just, for me, the points and steps taken to this were borderline unbelievable and ridiculous outside of tricking egotistical, robot Nate into becoming the guardian of the timeline. So not a bad episode, an okay episode, not my favorite episode. Some people were kind of out of character because, again, Ava being stabbed and Sarah reacting the way she did. It just, I don't know. That just it didn't sit well with me, especially considering how these two characters are with each other on a normal basis. It just did not sit well with me. So that bothered me. But outside of that, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, so Legends, not boring like Naomi, not irritating like Superman and Lois was this week, or last week, should I say, since it's a catch up. But definitely not my favorite episode to date, because I just kind of really felt like they could have done more. And I really wish they had gone toe to toe with the robot versions of themselves instead of tricking them. And I guess that's what they had to do. I mean, it is basically, this is a testament to the fact that the Legends basically are victorious by accident a majority of the time. We are Legends. We are lucky. That's what we are. They should be luckies of tomorrow because that's what they are. They get very lucky. And so I do feel like that, in case in point, is their whole stick, is that they aren't the most powerful team. They're the luckiest team. They survive by luck. So that's how I feel about that. All right. And now we're going to talk about Batwoman. And I am seeing your posts to the side, guy. I promise you I will come back to them. I just want to get through these little recaps and little things before we start talking or asking questions or answering questions, because, girls got to get through reviews. There were 4 shows. So on this week's episode of Batwoman season 3, episode 11, called Broken Toys, which, if you really think about it, is kind of messed up. So Marcus is on TV, and it seems like he was about to expose his sister as Batwoman, but he doesn't do it because that we knew that wasn't going to happen, because the show would be over. I'm like, unless we have another crisis or people get their mind wiped, that was not going to happen. I am never under the impression that Batwoman's identity is ever in actual danger on this show. It's just not. But Alice and Mary, they want to get help trying to, first of all, Alice wants the joy buzzer for herself, which we already know, and we see this later on. But Alice and Mary are trying to find somebody to help them fix the joy buzzer. At the same time, Sophie, aka hashtag Bat Chaser, is having kind of issues because she doesn't know where she stands with Ryan, and Ryan's pushing her away. And it's the same thing we've heard in the past 2 or 3 episodes of, do you like me? Do you not like me? Put the check in the box, blah, blah, blah. So like, in the episode though, we have, Mary is at the clinic and they're looking for Marcus. Of course, Marcus is gone because that drop of water from 2 episodes ago dropped on him. So he's a whole ass awake. And Mary's dealing with the fact that she killed that hunter. She's having a lot of issues with this. Like, Mary is like seriously having issues with this. No one's really blaming Mary, of course, for anything, which we already knew was going to happen. We knew this last episode. Nothing that has happened in Batwoman to this point, they're not blaming her for, which I get, because technically it was the poison ivy or the iviness of it all. But they still have no problem treating Alice like she's evil incarnate. And I mean, I can't imagine anybody that could be locked in a basement with one childhood book for 13 years, had a kitten brought to you by Mouse that was literally chopped and butchered in front of you, and then made to make face skin masks, and, put up with your captor's mother who's abusing the shit out of you. Like, and then go find your mother's head in the freezer and not be unaffected by that. And then on top of that, realize that your family, your sister and your father have moved on to a whole ass other family. Then you go to an island where you're brainwashed further to be even crazier. And no one thought, maybe you just need extreme amounts of therapy and help. Instead, it's like, Alice is trash. I'm like, I get why she is the way she is. I don't condone what she does. I'm just saying I get why it is. And I feel like nobody else, like everybody else on the show, has a past if they're under the influence of something, but not her. Ryan's like, I was imprisoned unjustly, which actually wasn't true, because you were carrying drugs on your person when you were found with drugs, because they were Angelique's. And my mother was killed by Alice's people, but it's Alice's fault. And I had to leave in my van. But I was kidnapped for the weekend by the lady who wanted to brainwash me for the faceless, society. But like, that's my trauma, and my trauma is true and real. And Alice, all of the trauma you went through doesn't matter because you're just stupid and trash. That's kind of how I feel about the show. It's just a thing, guys. It is a thing. It's just more, this show to me is a prime example of bad writing in the Arrowverse, because it is consecutively double standard, is consecutively full of shit. And they get away with it because as a POC, they throw POCs at us and they say, representation, be happy. I mean, for me, hey, you got somebody who's Black, you got somebody who's, LGBTQ plus. This all should be in my wheelhouse. But guess what? You're delivering it to me in a diaper full of shit, and I don't appreciate it. And that's kind of how I feel about this entire damn show. So we're going to go on because I need to get through this review while I still have energy. So Alice says, I know somebody that can help us. Her name is Kiki Roulette. She's the toy maker that worked with the Joker. I'm like, of course she is. Of course she is. Alice always gives them information. Now, Mary was going to go by herself. And then, of course, Ryan was like, no, Alice, go with her, which is a good thing, because Kiki is actually working for Marcus, and the whole time just wanted the buzzer back to give to Marcus for him to use one more time. Which we'll get to that in a second. But like the whole thing, they meet her, and Mary connects with her because she's asking Kiki, how do you get past hurting all these people? And, all of this stuff. Not realizing that the girl is a sociopath like Alice, has become, and she has no desire to make up for anything. It was all a ruse. So yeah, but I already knew that was going to happen. So it is a thing. The whole scene between Ryan and Jada, about Jada giving Ryan up, saying it was different time. I actually gave $2 million to the priest, or a check. That $2 million was not to erase my, identity and to have you think that I was dead. It was actually for the adoptive family who got you to take care of you, which means that the priest took the money and dropped her ass off at a fire station. That's what happened. But the irony of the situation, I will say Ryan had a point. And you never effing checked on me. You never went back and see if he did place me. You gave this man $2 million. I mean, he could have sold me to anybody. So I do say that is kind of a thing, I guess. So I will say that I do agree with her on that, and Jada's motivation, which went from, I got my baby away from you because I didn't want their brother to harm you, which makes no sense because I'm pretty sure Ryan's older, to this. And by the way, who is Ryan's daddy? Just tell us, why is she not curious? Why hasn't Ryan asked the question of who's my daddy? And did he know about me? I guess she just doesn't need to know that. Nobody cares about the dads in this, I guess. I don't know. But now I think about it, you know what? That may be true. We saw Sophie's mother. We had, Mary's mother. Where is her bio father? Of course, the only father we actually ever saw in this show was Jacob Kane. So I guess dads do not matter in this version. So yeah, cool beans. But anyway, so while they're having this whole showdown, Marcus's plan is to go to Arkham and start releasing crazy ass people to use in his agenda to get back and kill his mommy and become the Joker, basically. And so he does this by first releasing Victor Zaza. So Victor Z, who likes to put all of the markings on his arms and body whenever he kills somebody, who basically, I didn't mind this version of Victor, but I think he talked too damn much, and he's not as cold and sociopathic as he's supposed to be. But, it's the Arrowverse version. And every powerful and crazy person is milked down considerably, and villains are always redeemed. So, I mean, does that really shock me? No. He gave them an hour for Batwoman to show up. And, of course, Batwoman's already there because it's Ryan. So he's about to kill them. And of course, Ryan basically takes him out. And that's pretty much how Jada realized that her daughter is Batwoman. And I don't know. I just feel like everybody 180. So everybody's 180ing. And I just feel like the relationship between Ryan and Jada makes no sense because Jada is still not being 100% transparent. So I don't know if they're going to start developing a mother-daughter anything. But again, like I said, it can go all over the place because let's be clear, Ryan is Black Kate Kane. So she has to have storylines that are in the same realm as that. So it is what it is. But I guess, again, in this show, fathers do not matter. That's what I've learned. Back to the whole Sophie and Ryan thing. So one thing I will say that I thought was very amusing is that Sophie was literally venting to Luke, who I don't think has ever had a successful relationship. Then what the fuck does he know? I don't know. But play devil's advocate, he did say something that I thought was very, very funny. He said, so you're in the right. He's like, well, at least we know you have a type. #Bat Chaser. Was I wrong? No, it was not. Now, one thing I like is the fact that they actually have a couple that are 2 Black female lesbians, because that's rare. You don't normally see that. The problem is Sophie looks so flaky right now. It is ridiculous. So hear me out. She basically implied that she liked Ryan way before she knew she was Batwoman. And that implies that she liked Ryan even back to when she was in with Angelique and potentially when she was arresting her. But what does not track for me with that is that Sophie was having issues dealing with Kate's death that entire fucking time. So what you're really saying to me is that she had already moved on from not only Kate, but Julia, because she saw Ryan and she was like, I'm going to tap that. and then slept with, Montoya because she was horny. So she's like the one that wasn't in the suit. But if you really think about it, technically, she may not be a bat chaser, but Montoya is supposed to go on and become the Question. So another hero complex. But like Sophie is so flaky. They're making her so flaky that it was like the whole time she was with Kate, she was like, "Huh, I'm gonna get with that." And I don't know. I feel like that is really weird. And as somebody who likes Sophie as a general character, who loves that she's beautiful, she's smart, she's strategic, she can kick ass, and quite frankly, is actually the Batwoman we should have had. They're making her the side piece. And Marcus, even Marcus left, and Luke and of course Sophie decide to go break into, Wayne Industries to get on, and they're going through his computer. Their idea was to go get the AI back for Luke's suit because he wants to have the AI back for Batwing's suit. But they also took the time to go through his computer to find out that, he's releasing all these people, and then they find out about Kiki and the fact that Mary's with them, and that's how they know what was going on and all that shit. So, but like, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like they're making her the side piece. And Marcus, even when he caught them, he was like, "Oh," he's like, "Isn't even when he say it's a BFF or whatever," and the side piece, he referred to Sophie as the side piece, and that's a true statement. The sad thing is that everything I'm saying, they're actually backing up in the damn script verbally, and it's just really interesting to me. I don't know. Ryan putting restrictions on Sophie, what she can and cannot do to stay safe, is interesting considering you've been Batwoman for not even a year, and Sophie was literally military trained. I mean, and was a crow, and like okay. And then let's talk about the love scene. I don't try to fall into the bottom and top tropes, but I have to admit that Ryan is a whole ass bottom, because they were like getting hot and heavy, and she couldn't figure out how to get girls' belt and pants off. And Sophie like rolled her eyes and had to jump her. And I'm like, the hell is that? And I'm like, you have a bat belt and you can't figure out how to get her belt off. I'm like, oh my God, it's so stupid. I'm sorry. It is so stupid to me. But I already told you this was going to happen. People have been asking me since that love scene and my power was out, how I felt about them finally getting together and hooking up. And my answer is quite simple. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I just don't. Unfortunately, it makes Sophie's character. They took her and they basically do what they always do with especially very strong POC characters in the Arrowverse. They character assassinated her and made everything that Sophie was and is and believed not mean shit. Timeline wise, I understand that she had problems coming out of the closet. I mean, that's real talk. That's fine. But she was in love with Kate. And I'm not saying she has to still be in love with Kate. I'm just telling you timeline wise, I feel like saying that I was always into Ryan even back then, blah, blah, blah. That just tells me the whole time that you were thinking Kate was dead, you're pining after this chick. So Sophie, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, that's it. Do you just need to be with every queer character on the show? Is that it? Is that your mission? Do you have to sleep with everyone who identifies as lesbian? Because I feel like she's on a mission. So it's a thing. I mean, she didn't sleep with Poison Ivy. Here's that, I guess. And of course, Alice wants Mary's help in getting the Joker buzzer because she doesn't want to be a sociopath anymore. And I don't know if that's the case or she just doesn't want to feel anything anymore, because she's already implied that she has emotions and she buries them deep, 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 deep down and creates these little unbelievable scenarios so she doesn't have to feel bad about the shit that she does, which implies that she does feel what she does. And so that's a thing. That is a thing. So I'm the whole Wildmore thing, because that's what they're calling them, hashtag Wildmore. Why don't they call it more wild? I'm like, probably because she can't get her damn belt off. But I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care about their relationship. I no longer give a fuck about Luke. I like the AI more than Luke. I do like Mary and Alice, and I still do like Sophie. I just don't like the fact that Sophie is now the side piece, because that is what she is. For her to stay on this show, she had to sleep with Batwoman. There you go. They couldn't just find an interesting plot point for her. Something else I'm going to call out, back to the fact that, again, you don't need money to survive in the Arrowverse. They were getting on, and I think it was a vase that Sophie hit, and she's like, I'll buy you another one. And my first knee-jerk reaction was this. With what fucking money? You don't have a job. You have no job. I don't even understand how the hell you're paying for your damn apartment. I don't understand where this money is coming from. Just saying. Just have to say that. Yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, this was a very whatever episode. I mean, Marcus for me is not the Joker. He's just an annoying little prick who needs his ass whooped. Mary and Alice have a very interesting dysfunctional ass relationship, because at the end of the day, yes, there are stepsisters. Alice still killed Mary's mother. And as far as Alice is concerned, Mary took over her role in her family. And all of these people are fucked up. Like, every one of them need a damn guidance counselor and a therapist. So if anything, Batwoman should be the example of everyone needing mental health. Pro therapy. Because, as minorities, we don't like going to the doctor and going to see therapists. Maybe this is just this is why you go get help. So you end up like these people. That's what it is. Yeah, that's it. That's all you get. And I don't even have the energy to be angry at this show. So I'm just tired. So it is what it is. All right. So let's just go back up here now and look at your comments and see what everybody's saying. Because I know we talked about a lot. So let's see here. Girl Boss said they didn't even fight the evil twins. I know. It was let down for me. I really wanted to have like this epic battle where Sarah's like, you may be the robot version of me, but guess what? I'm the main, I'm the source material, and I'm much better than you. And that didn't happen. So they didn't even fight. They pulled a Barry Allen Flash, and I was just like, no, why? Do not have the same writing team. I don't understand, and I don't like it. So I did hear that Booster Gold is joining Legends of Tomorrow. I would love to see how he interacts with Nate. That is probably something I'm very, very looking forward to. I'm trying to scroll down a little bit. Hello, D. Marie. Thank you. Yes, this is this is Naga from Legends of Korra. This is her polar bear dog. Let's see. So Girl Boss wants to know how you're going to beat this other Superman. You mean Bizarro? He always gets beat, either by trickery or just straight up getting his ass whooped. This version of Superman is one of the weakest. If this had been Kingdom Come, Brandon Routh's Superman, Bizarro would be dead already. that's just real talk. He'd be dead. There would be half the stuff that went down in Smallville would not have gone down if that was Brandon Routh's Superman. But again, Kingdom Come Superman is OP, so it is what it is. Jordan will become the better Superman with Sam's training. I think that he will be more strategic, because I feel like, Clark did have Jor-El in his ear growing up from the Fortress, but I don't think he really taught him anything, honestly, outside of like politics and stuff, and don't do this and don't interfere with this and stuff like that. Okay, let's see here. I'm mad they pulled a switch and making Jonathan the bad twin. I hate that. Also, Jonathan looked hella good this season. Let's kind of give Joe Dirt the season, and Jordan started to. Yeah, I feel like Jordan. Okay, this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm believing that Arrowverse writing is twinkling into this. Jordan is the one that has anxiety issues, and at some point may have even been suicidal like Sarah was at one point. And they're making him a lot more well adjusted. And it's weird that his twin, who is the one who's not as adjusted, is not as adjusted. But to be fair, I will say, to play devil's advocate here, if I had a twin and they got all these kick-ass abilities and I was just human, I'd be pissed too. I'd be envious as hell. Maybe Sarah's giving him attention, gives him new appeal. Maybe. I don't know. I agree that Lucy's storyline is kind of meh. It could be better. It's just boring as fuck. If my sister is this hellbent on being inducted into a crazy ass society like Chloe's actress was from the original Smallville show, let her go. Let her live her life. Look, Sam, you fucking do something about this organization. That's something else I don't understand. Sam, you are involved in everything. You have all of this reach and all of this power, and you can't take down this little crazy ass cult. Yeah, her dad should have been doing that. Naomi is giving greedy dating a whole group in the cult of Naomi. That box is the treasure box of the town. They're trying to dip into that alien water and are going to end up with chest huggers. Ray. I mean, you're not wrong, though. You're not wrong. Baby, so we're just going to have, less than 29 of her people for her to have her fools? Or are there more Superman in that roster of characters for her to deal with? Who knows? Like I said, Naomi, I can't even foresee. I mean, honestly, it's probably going to be an episode by episode of people trying to kidnap her. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. She's going to be Naomi, the kidnappable girl. Maybe Naomi is their Lisa Turtle. That's exactly what this is. It's like watching Arrowverse with Saved by the Bell. You have called it, Wilbert. Good job. I don't know, but she's got to choose Nathan. That's the jock, right? We don't need a CW triangle no more, please. It's not healthy to show America triangle constantly. That shit you don't want to do. No one you do. Yeah, not everybody's in a love triangle. That is true. Naomi started off really slow. I gave 4 episodes to grab my attention. Then to find out Naomi's from another Earth, like the sign. This is part of the multiverse, even though they said it wasn't. Well, yeah, I mean that we already established that. We need to establish something beyond her being from another Earth, and just delve into it more. I mean, it's so slow. Oh, those vending machines be also got kids eat when the lunch food be days and like dog food unless you have off-campus lunch. So I couldn't understand the anger. Also, the audacity to make that decision and making that girl feel like she was a pariah for wanting them to be healthy. And it took Naomi doing a speech about it. That shit pissed me off. It really did. They are metas, they are mutates, but I wouldn't exactly put them on a mega level, despite what people are saying. I don't see no Jean Grey or Magneto feats of power or any. So if you really look at them, if you look at Jupiter's legacy, the people of her Earth are like the Jupiter Legacy people, but they are supposed to have godlike abilities. They don't just have one power. They don't just have 2 power. They like have multiple abilities, and they're all. Like, I'm talking one of them could probably terraform a planet type powers. So they were supposed to be a lot higher tier than a regular standard metahuman. That's why I call them omnipotent, because, I mean, that's kind of what I feel like they are. So it's a thing. Phoenix versus Superman, Wanda versus Superman. That's different because Phoenix is cosmic energy and Superman is a Kryptonian. Wanda versus Superman, that would be interesting. But she's a Nexus being. So that's more, I think the Wanda versus Zatanna video we did was a little bit more appropriate than that. Just to answer my question about seeing Naomi's bio parents in the future. Yeah, they never really say their names or tell us who they are. So that's a thing, I guess. Naomi's Earth got destroyed. So parts of it, I believe, in the comics were, I don't think the whole thing was destroyed because they're coming from somewhere. Because remember, in this, Akira says she wants to go back home, and she can't. She wasn't implying that the whole planet was destroyed. But then again, this is the Arrowverse. It could have been. We don't know what happened to Earth 29, but they're sending people to find her from somewhere. So we need to figure out what's going on. We can't because, again, it's slow as shit. So I don't know. I think Naomi would have been played better as a binge watch show. It feels too slow for a network show. Yep, that needs to convince you to come back weekly. I absolutely agree with that. It's so, even like the way they did Stargirl to me, the pacing was great. Now, to be fair, it started off as DC Universe, and that's probably why it didn't start off in the Arrowverse. I feel like when you have your origin in the Arrowverse, you are doomed to fail. I don't know. It's weird. I like Naomi, but the slowness is something. It is too slow. It's just too slow. Well, Naomi's parents are mutates, but she is a mutant since she was born with her active genes. So she's like Franklin. I love the composition of a meta basically being a mutate or mutant mainly. We also have the Atlanteans and the Homo Magi, and those four make up the meta class of beings. And so with Naomi's story, first of all, she was actually based off of another comic book creator, and name wise, and then there's just parts of her that were taken from all over the place. But they actually came up with Naomi while these two artists were working on the Spider-Verse. So that should tell you something right there. But they made this when I say these people were not mutants. They were like, so think like it. Maybe I didn't go high enough. So think of like Eternals. They're like Eternals. So like they're a DC version of Eternals. So like these people woke up one day being able to do whatever the hell they wanted. That's godlike power. That is not a mega human. A meta human is different. So, but because they were able to do it, there was a big civil war between them because some are like, we have the power to be gods. We could do whatever the hell we want. I'm Zeus. You're like Loki and you're like Artemis and we're just going to rule this world. And other people are like, no, that's not what we do. We use our powers to help people. And then this whole thing turned into a huge civil war. And so unfortunately, Naomi was a victim of that war, and her parents, they weren't able to save themselves, but they were able to get her out. And so I'm hoping that comes to light and that we have some of the same plot. Because again, they're not even saying that Greg is an alien. So I don't know what's happening. It's so fucking slow that it makes my head hurt. So it is what it is. The dinner scene Naomi's father made is awkward for D, poor D. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm hoping it was a double meaning dinner. I'm hoping it was like, I'm an alien. I know you're an alien. And you knew I was sent here to kick your ass or to take your ass. Because D knew about Naomi in the comics because him and Greg found her together. And they made a deal. Greg would marry, Jennifer, and they'd raise her, adopt her as their daughter. And Dee would like kind of be protecting her from the shadows in the background until she was old enough. And then they told her who she really was. And it's like, they just aren't doing that. And I don't know. They're making it seem like Dee and Greg have no connection whatsoever. And that is not true. So I don't know. What's funny is that the showrunners of Naomi denied at first that it was part of the Arrowverse multiverse, and it turns out it is. Don't these people know the power of the Arrowverse? It's true. Well, also, her world's not supposed to have heroes. Like Superman's in a comic, but yet we had Superman flying in. Oh, Naomi. So my issue with Legends is the characters are too C-list for me, and they have added more of them. I miss when the show was a dumping ground for Arrowverse supporting characters we already knew. Yeah, I mean, I get that they're trying to incorporate more characters in. Booster Gold was, well, no, he wasn't introduced in this. That was in Smallville. I think it's a good way of bringing in C characters from the Justice League. Because I remember watching the Justice League animation show, and I would have like, this is the A team, this is the B team. And Green Arrow was always on the C list. So you had like Black Canary on the B team. He was a C player, a C stringer. So was the Question, even though he's brilliant. And now Renee Montoya. But like, I think it's a way of bringing in characters they can get the license to. Because I think when they go for the heavy hitters, they're going to have licensing problems, especially with DCEU right now, trying to pull everybody in. Like, it would be really cool to have Shazam in the Arrowverse in a way. I mean, they probably wouldn't be able to write Shazam worth shit, but, the likelihood of being able to get the license to put Shazam in the Arrowverse, even though there are separate entities, proven by having Ezra Miller do a cameo in Crisis on Infinite Poop, that they are two different universes. That should have itself given them the license to be able to have a TV version of these characters. I mean, you have the Flash on the Arrowverse, and you have the Flash in the DCEU. You have Superman in the Arrowverse, and you have Superman in the DCEU. Why can't we have Wonder Woman in the Arrowverse? Why can't we have Batman in the Arrowverse? Why can't we have Shazam in the Arrowverse? Why we have half the characters? Where the hell is Aquaman? We had him in Smallville. We have him name dropped. Why isn't Aquaman in the Arrowverse? There are so many things they could be doing, and they don't. So, I mean, none of this effing shocks me at all. So it's a thing. It is a thing. Legends has become really C-list. I do like Rip's original ROG team. Well, when he formed that team, it was a lot more serious. The stakes were high. Now it's just goofy. It's just them trying to fix shit that they broke most of the time. I can't remember, but was it Astra's magic that helped bring Gideon to flesh, or was it John? It was Astra. She was trying to put the Wave Rider back together and ended up making Gideon flesh. Okay, I answered about Gideon. Awesome. I miss seeing the OG characters in LLT, like Mick, Snart. Yeah, Snart was cool. Ray Palmer. I agree. I miss Ray a lot. I love Ray Palmer. Haven't seen Maria in a minute. Almost Valentine's Day, which seems like a train wreck in the PR universe aside from in space. I mean, do Power Rangers celebrate Valentine's Day? Probably. I hope the Legends keep Gideon in human form and not revert her back to AI to save her life. I'm worried about that too. I like the actress on there. I think they should keep her around. Gary is more proficient than Astra Magic. Lee and Canon CW, keep it up. I want OG Zari back. I don't want plastic Zari anymore. And those kind of girls aren't even watching a comic book series. Like I said, I like the evolution of this Zari. I don't have a problem with 1.0 or 2.0. Either way, I'm fine. I don't mind it. I just don't want Zari and Spooner to be BFFs because I do like Astrid with Spooner as friends. I think they really help each other. And I don't know. It's interesting. I want to get into be more like Andromeda, not Homegirl from Outlaw Star. Hey, Outlaw Star was a great anime. What's wrong with you? The team have the ship back finally. Yes, they do. So Astra is like Blue Fairy from AI. So that movie made me cry. Yeah, I can see that. The robots wouldn't have had the exact combos of power that Legends have had, which are primary and magic based, so they wouldn't be able to replicate that. But I mean, hell, half the Legends don't have abilities. So I mean, I just would have loved to see a throwdown fight, like Terminator style, see how that played out. So Robin's mom dropped $200K. No, she dropped $2 million and said, "Take care and let God," and didn't even check to make sure that her daughter went to an agency to check in with the parents. If they can do it on a team, mom, that I'm telling you, she's mother of the fucking year. The Bat Chaser got her bat. Poor Kate King. Honestly, I ship Kate and Sophie more than Ryan and Sophie. That's because Kate and Sophie were actually in the comics, so that makes sense. But yeah, like I said, I told everybody at the end of season 2 that this shit was gonna happen. So I mean, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at all. And I bet you right now they've got videos, they got fan base, they probably got fanfics already. Like, it is what it is. I mean, like I said, I like the fact that they put 2 POC lesbians together because they rarely ever do that. It's always either interracial or both of them are white. So I have no problem with that aspect. It's that it had to be on this show with these 2 characters, which makes no sense. Because I mean, there is a law. And for some reason in the Arrowverse that if you are queer, you are attracted to every queer character. And if you're not in love with them, you're at least going to have sex with them. And that is not how it works. I am queer. I am not attracted to every female or every male. I am bisexual. Every guy that walks by, every female that walks by, I don't want to jump them. I just don't. I mean, because that's not how it works. So I don't understand. I will never understand this label of Sophie sees, she must conquer. And she literally legit, she slept with Kate. She slept with Julia. She slept with Renee. Now she slept with Ryan. These are the four fucking regular members at one time or another of Batwoman she has had sex with. The only one she has not had sex with in this show, and it's probably because she didn't really spend any time with them, was Angelique. The chick that Ryan was seeing from the community center for like a millisecond. And the chick Kate Kane was banging. And she didn't have sex with, what's her name? With Poison Ivy, with Pamela. All for very, very good reasons. Because she didn't have a lot of interaction with these women. All of the other ones, the main characters, and regular reoccurring characters, she banged ass. I mean, I don't understand it because that's what Sophie's role is. She's going to establish her place on this show through sex. So, bam. Not through her mind, not for the fact that she's a brilliant strategist, not from the fact that she's, should have been Batwoman. No, she's a side piece. What it is. And Alice's facial expressions were funny in this episode. She's always funny in these episodes. Mary is getting a free pass and everything. Alice was driven mad. Yep, tortured and kidnapped over decades. But yeah, they don't care about that. She's just trash. She's just trash. Sophie, in all fairness, didn't really embrace her sexuality until after season 1. She was closeted and dating men when Kate was around. Doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you have to be the hoe of the show. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. You don't have to sleep with everybody. And that is that's basically what's happening. And like Luke even said, like he said it himself, you have a type. And that type is anybody who's had on that damn suit. And that is Kate. That is Julia for that one episode where she pretended to be Batwoman. And that is Ryan. And I will mic drop that shit because I was right. And so there you go. I love how Jada told everything to Ryan except her father. Yep, because fathers do not matter in this show. Gotham is so bad that a priest stole the money. Maria, I could have sworn she said she left Ryan with a doctor, and he did that, but it is Gotham, hella corrupt. She should have checked. Hell, I don't know if it was a doctor or a priest. Either way, I know she ended up at the fire station. So, I mean, priest, doctor, doesn't matter. The man stole the damn $2 million and left her at a fire station. That is so effed up. But it's not as effed up as Jada not knowing about it. Like, hell, when he cashed the check, didn't he have to cash the check? I mean, if you give somebody a blank check to fill out with $2 million, don't you got to put your name on it and then cash it in your name? Wouldn't she have seen that in her bank and said, hold up, this is supposed to go to the people that adopt it, not this crazy motherfucker that I gave the baby to give to the people that are going to adopt her. None of that tracks with me. Jada's supposed to be a brilliant business woman, and you don't check to see where the money trail went? No, Bad writing. Bad writing. Get rid of that one. It's because it's going to be a season finale twist and reveal. Probably. It better not be Luke's dad. That's all I'm saying. And it sure as hell better not be Bruce Wayne. The toy maker's doctor was the clown queen herself, Harley Quinn. Reference. Do you think that the age is going to be in the next season or in the future? I don't think Harley. You know what? I'm going to shut up because they probably would put her in there. Which is where they should have had her on there with Poison Ivy. Not Renee. Because there's no universe where Renee would be sleeping with Poison Ivy. So, there's that. But now, I mean, honestly, she could, I guess, show up. But I mean, I don't think they can have Harley on there. They have Alice, and Alice is kind of like a version of Harley Quinn. So that would be very awkward and weird, to be honest with you. I would love to see Alice's actress be Harley, though. That would be very cool. Like if Alice finally went away or became Beth, a good person, if they had her have a dual role as a Harley, would be cool. Mary's parents were two of the most wealthy and powerful people in the country. I don't think Mary's dad was around. I do believe that Jacob has parental rights with Mary. I think her dad gave up. I would just love to know this. See, I don't want to speculate. I want to know. That's my problem. He's right, to be honest. Victor was a badass and more darker in the Gotham show. I agree with that. Maria, you can be attracted to someone without a T. Without acting on it. True. But Sophie acts on it. So, I mean, if that's the point we're trying to make here, somebody should tell Sophie that you don't have to sleep with everybody that's queer. You just don't have to. I'm not a fan of the Sophie and Ryan relationship. Sorry, not sorry. That's fine. I'm not either. Sophie sucks at everything. She does. I mean, she has potential because the character itself is good. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maria, you're married. It's different in these streets when you are just dating, and they weren't even dating at the time of Kate's disappearance. So she doesn't own Kate anything. Sophie was bi-curious. Okay, I'm gonna contradict you there. Yes, I'm married. I have not been married. I'm almost 46, so I have not been married for 30 something years. I know what it's like in the streets, and I've been around the bend. So let me talk about bi-curious and bisexuality. Number one, those are two entirely different things. Number two, when you are bisexual, That has nothing to do with the frequency of who you sleep with, the people that you sleep with, and your ability to get laid. What I'm talking about with Sophie is that Sophie literally had a note from Kate, who wrote this beautiful letter saying, "You are the love of my life." And Sophie's like, "I need to find Kate. I got to get to the island. I miss Kate. Kate's the love of my life, blah, 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 blah." But now you're backtracking and saying, "But I've also liked Ryan even before I knew she was Batwoman, even back to when, I was basically arresting her," which is the same timeline that I love Kate and she's my soulmate and I need to be with Kate. Number one, that shit doesn't track. There's a difference between being bisexual, bi-curious, and flaky. So that's one thing. And then on top of that, in the streets, yes, you are free to sleep with whoever you want. The problem is that Sophie's the only one fucking doing it. Who did you see Luke sleep with? Who have you seen Mary sleep with? Hell, Ryan had the little thing with her ex Angelique. She was talking to the community center girl, but did you see them get it on? No. Who besides Sophie consistently gets laid in this show? Just think about it. Think about it. And when they decided to have a brand new Batwoman, instead of giving her the strategic training role, infiltrate, whatever, Sophie has a lot of skills. She could have done a lot of stuff for a team, for the Bat team family. She did not have to end up being Ryan's side piece. That's not how you keep her on the show as the love interest. That is a downgrade, in my opinion. Now, a year or two from now, they decide to naturally hook up, that's fine. But no, not by the middle of season 3. And girl just got here season 2. I'm sorry. That shit don't fly with me. That is bad writing. And Ryan doesn't know how to undo Sophie's belt. I found that funny. I was like, really? I like Sophie roll her eyes. She's like, this bitch. I'm like, she got a whole ass bat belt with all this complicated gadgetry, but she couldn't get that belt off. I'm like, all right. Sophie has no point in the show without Wildmore. Yep. Where is Sophie's story this season? What is her journey as a character? And the fact that people either don't see that or don't care is what I absolutely effing agree. This is exactly my point. We don't even know how she's paying her bills other than living on a credit card. It does not make any effing sense whatsoever. That's okay. Kate was banging random girls. Her fiance fell through. All gays go through this phase freshly after coming out. Sophie is a baby gay. Well, not every. I think that's a very broad statement. I do not like putting everybody in the same stereotypical group. That's not true. As for Kate banging random girls, so Sophie told her, "I don't want you. I'm married to a man." So Kate was like, "Okay." She met that Reagan chick and slept with her. Her and Julia, who had a previous relationship after Sophie broke her heart, they were together for a little while, and then they had a hookup after Kate was feeling guilty about killing her sister's captor. But what other random women was Kate actually sleeping with? Because outside of Reagan and the one night stand with Julia, she was pining after Sophie the whole effing time. And Sophie kept saying, we're not in a relationship. We're not going to do this. And then when she came Batwoman, she was like, "I can't be with you because they'll hurt me to get, hurt you to get to me." So like, if you really think of it along those lines, which is very comic book, by the way, that makes sense. Kate wasn't like, "Oh, Renee, you gay, let's jump. Oh, you gay over there too, let's jump with you. I'm going to get with you. I'm going to get with you. And I'm going to get with you." No, just because you come out of the closet does not mean you got to spread your leg. I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, Ray. I do not agree with that at all. Batwoman for the Bat Chaser Strikes Back. I agree. Do you think that Black Siren would join the Legend Tomorrow in the future would be cool? Because in my opinion, that would be awesome. I would love to see how somebody as serious as Black Siren would do with that crew. That would be a very interesting plot right there. I could already see who would get on her nerves, and her and Asher would probably hate each other. Luke's suit needs some character redesigns. It's a little stubby to me. I don't know if it's because he's short. I don't know what the hell it is about that suit. Because when we saw the promos, it looked pretty badass. I don't know what happened. I don't know. But I agree with that. They need to do something about that suit. In all fairness, the Bat family and story is about mental health and heroes and villains, all different disorders. I agree with that. They are poster child for mental health and all of Batwoman. Spooner is one of the only people who actually looks hot with the mullet. I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. So Barry is out of here, right? Are we going Speedster recast or is the Flash done? So I don't know what the hell's going on with him. I know in real life, his actor, I think his wife had a baby, so maybe he wants to spend more time at home because they do shoot like 10 or 11 months out of a year. That's a lot away from your family. I don't know. They need to hit Bizarro with yellow sunlight instead of the red sunlight. They all need to do is figure out Bizarro's Clark's inverse, and they will be able to beat him. There's so many ways too that they beat him even without using sunlight in the comics. It's very easy. I remember this one comic run where they just tricked him into believing he had a whole ass other family, and then he went and made a whole ass other family. It was like, it was such a weird comic run. I have to find it, but it was back in like the 80s. It was hilarious. I think Nate is going with his Zari and the Crystal, so Booster Gold can join. Huh. I don't know. I like Nate on the show, though. I feel really bad if Steel went away. I don't know. I feel really weird about it. I'm rewatching the Arrowverse all over again because there was things that I have missed. Okay. I mean, Arrow season 1 and 2 weren't bad. It's later on where it starts getting effing weird. I've never heard this many people complain about their feelings this much in the Batman episode instead of fighting crime. I know. It's... The cult leader is Parker's mom from Charmed. I know. That was not lost on me. I just couldn't remember her damn name. I was like, it's the scientist chick. There are girls like Naomi that are actually that popular because not in any of the schools I've been in. I like how Euphoria shows schools versus this. Yeah. I just want her to have one problem. Outside of a supernatural power problem, I want her to have one. I want her to go to school and somebody just not like her ass because they just don't like her. I mean, everybody does not like everybody. It's just not possible. You have to have some kind of, conflict or something, or you're just not, for me, it's not real rounded. If every time Naomi walks in the room, everyone's like, she's class president material. She's my BFF, Naomi. The party doesn't start till Naomi gets here. That's literally how this show is written. It's so weird. I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, Goodman with the Jupiter Legacy. Unpopular opinion. I love Chloe and Jupiter and that dance club scene with Nick of Time. I love Chloe in the comics. So if you read the comic, I think a lot of people would like her a lot better in the comic than they would in the actual show. But yeah. If they did a live action Justice League Apocalypse War, I will die. Oh, so would I. I would love to see a dark Justice League series with Zatanna and Constantine. Although the actor doesn't want to do Constantine, I don't think anymore, which sucks because Matt's a very good Constantine. But I would love to see a dark Justice League. That would be a cool show. Superman is weak to magic, so Wanda might beat him if she uses the right spells. True. That is very true. I feel like Anna Morris moves faster than Naomi. The 80s version of the Tomorrow People, which was slow as hell, is faster. Yeah. Have you seen the film Catwoman Hunted? I haven't yet. I need to. I heard it was actually pretty good. I saw the trailer, though. Did I see the trailer? No, I read about it. I need to see the trailer. I need to watch that. I'm so excited to see Zeus in the upcoming Thor movie, who should be more powerful than Thor, or am I done? Zeus should be as strong as Odin. Yeah, Zeus should be, OP. So I agree with that. I think Naomi's parents were just staying back the hell up from their daughter, just setting some boundary lines. He shows up and boom, Thruster family balls deep in aliens' powers and danger. Like I said, I need to know how close this comic is being adapted because Greg altogether, him and Dee have an interesting dynamic, and not having that in the show is it just feels weird and forced to me. Like they're going to have this, they'll have this thing where they don't like each other for reasons that are just stupid and not for actual reasons, like Dee being a former assassin and, Greg being hunted to bring him to justice. Completely different. I wonder if we're going to have Adam Strange in the show. That would be cool. RIP, Ralph sucks, such a good character and got ruined like Chloe Sullivan. If they're bringing Booster Gold in the show, they're going to have to address his connection to Rip Hunter. True, which they should. Maybe we'll even get a cameo because, a lot of people think that Rip's dead, but, we don't know that for sure. Anything can happen. Timey-wimey stuff is always fun to talk about. I can't wait to see the new adult Deviant Rangers Netflix is doing. I like the concept of giving a bunch of GDs superpowers and how they deal with this versus how the Rangers are all of a sudden become heroes. I didn't realize that they were doing Netflix. I'm gonna have to get into that. So there's a new Ranger show. Yeah, make sure you give me some insight on that because I'm a little behind on that. I kind of want to see Zach Braff in Legends. That would be really funny. That would be fucking hilarious. Sophie slept with the other people though. The technically rule. Through the technically rule. There. Yeah. So unfortunately, Sophie is living up to some bad stereotypes. Unrelated, but which couple is better? Armored Adventures, Tony and Pepper, or MCU version? I have to think about that. I don't know. Maria, so you consider yourself bi or pan? So I hate labels. So I guess in all fairness, I am attracted to both men and women, but I also don't care about gender because my spouse is trans male. Not now River has not taken T, has not transitioned at all physically, but River is a guy born biologically female, and neither of those points bother me. So if River tomorrow was like, I'm a female, it would not cause me to get divorced. If River was like, I'm non-binary, it would not cause me to get divorced. If River like grew 2 penises and of a JJ on his head, I mean, we might have some problems because that would be really weird to go out in public with, but wear a hat. I'm not bothered by gender, but I also am attracted to male and female. So I really don't know what you would call me. I don't know. So I guess in a definition of not seeing gender and not caring about gender, then traditionally that would be pansexual, but I'm also attracted to male and female. So I'm kind of like in between. So that's why I go back and forth between bi and pan, because I actually don't know what that's called. So it just doesn't matter. But at the same time, I like what I like. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. So I hope that clarified something for you. I mean, maybe you need to clarify it for me. The Batwoman writers missed the opportunity to build the character Sophie up into Batwoman. She is a wasted character that could have been so good. Yep, they didn't know what to do with her, so they made her the side piece. Could you imagine Sophie as Batwoman and Montoya as the Question? Now that show would be fire. Abso-fucking-lutely. I would have loved that shit. And I mean, I would have accepted 2 women that Kate has been with in the comics being together. I would have been okay with that shit. That would have been fine. Yeah, that would have been a fire show. The Batman Robin dynamic is missing, and Batwing is more like a standby character, not the same. I would have absolutely the chemistry that like Renee and Sophie actually had when they talked to each other and were mad, to me, was off the chain. I could have absolutely seen that being the case. And I could have seen them eventually becoming a couple, just like how Kate and her were, and then having another dynamic be, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, and them dealing with another couple on the show. That shit would have been fire. I'm sorry. That would have been cool. Maria, you said you were running the streets giving box, you my girl. I mean, Sophie finally has found herself. I don't think she was fully formed as a queer character until after Kate's death. I think that this is the thing. We assume that we know what Sophie was doing in the streets, but we don't know. And we don't know what her and Julia were doing. I will tell you this, how Sophie treated Julia was effing wrong. All of that shit was wrong. And the fact that girl is still brainwashed living in Germany and nobody gives a fuck and forgot about and is literally an afterthought is also wrong. Because she got brainwashed. Does she even know Kate's alive? Is she free? I mean, it's just bullshit. So yeah, like I said, bad writing. Sophie's the most skilled person on the team. Yep, arguably on level of not higher than Kate without the suit. I think Sophie could take her. Sophie will whoop Ryan's ass. So like, hi Kevin, happy Sunday. I hope the Wolf Spider makes a return as an ally. Such a cool skill set. I like Wolf Spider. He's also an afterthought right now. Kate was doing that Bruce Wayne playgirl trope to the T. Didn't Grant Gustin sign up for season 9 though? I don't know. Did they confirm it? I thought they were in talks. I didn't know he signed anything. I feel like the Flash is going to be like Supernatural. As long as Grant wants it, the show will go on. How would you feel if they made a live action witch show? As long as CW didn't do it, it might be pretty damn cool. I would love for them to do that on Netflix or something. I think that would be very and rival what they're doing with Winx remake or live action, should I say? I think that'd be really cool. Marvel be having me confused. What the heck is Godslayer come from? How come he just now has shown up? Did he wait for Odin and his ancient one and Hela to be out of the picture for? Look, if you're trying to find continuity in comics, you've already failed. That's not going to happen. I've always said this. We had this whole ass multiverse. Where the hell did he come from? You're saying he's a reality bender and he could have taken out dudes, so we couldn't have had all this confuckery. What? I'm like, yeah, I'm used to. I am used to that. So. I would love to see a live action witch series, assuming Disney makes it. That was some legal trouble involving them and the creators of Winx. Wow. Yes, Netflix is doing Rangers, but it won't be anything like before. It's going to be gritty and a bunch of JDs basically getting superpowers and a slowly transformation of what that means soldiers. Hey, I'll be here for that. That'll be cool. What do you think Legends of Tomorrow is going to do next season? Well, let's see. We're in alien terms right now. We're back in time, but we were in going from planet to planet and trying to save Sarah from aliens. Maybe we need to. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing about Legends is they're so campy. They really have the ability to do anything. It's hard to keep campy, insane stuff fresh because you have to continuously do it. It just depends on who signs on, who's still going to be on. I would like for them to explore stuff like I would love for them to go and explore comic book like worlds, like go to Earth 29 and see Naomi's world, go to Atlantis, do something comic book related. That thing, I think that would be cool, but they probably won't. Maria, there has been so much turmoil in the online web TV series between trans people and non-binary people. I don't get it. It's super easy to me. I don't know why there is so much dust because people are trash. Not all, but some people are just trash. Mine are a very averse guy in extreme, but I can easily picture it and understand it. So like everybody hates, how do I say this? I don't want to say hate. When people don't understand something, then they have to put it down. It's just what it is. Like the reason me and Victoria do so many mixed videos about being mixed is because we don't have a community. And it's actually affected people who are mixed to the point where it's become taboo and you're shamed. You're shamed to saying that you're mixed. And this goes across the board. I mean, we know in this country, let's be clear, America prides itself on saying they are pro-diversity, equal justice for all, even the freaking Pledge of Allegiance gives you this false sense of stuff that's not actually happening in this country. We have, of course, we already know Black people are treated like shit in this country. Native American people aren't even treated like humans in this country. Everybody, for some reason, that shows any Latina or Hispanic background, you're already trying to send them across the border, even if they basically were raised in this country for fucking generations. Like it's so much stuff. It's just so much, that keeps happening. Asians are invisible. They keep putting all of people. They put everybody in the same bucket. But then they pit everybody who are in this bucket against each other. So it's like when me and Victoria, just case in point, we just did 2 videos today where one, we had an actress who is mixed, who said she's offended when she's called biracial. And then we had another one who basically took a 23andMe test, another performer. I think it was Keisha Cole is what I did. And she basically posted on Twitter that she was glad that she found out more about herself. And it became, I hate myself or I hate being Black. And I'm like, where the hell are people getting this shit from? It's never going to stop because this is a very damaged country. We have a history of oppression and racism and slavery and unfairness. And we have the 1% that has everything while we technically work for corporate jobs. And if you really think about it on a level, it's no different from slavery. We are keeping the rich richer while we suffer and struggle paying for bills. We pay astronomical amounts of money for healthcare that is subpar, where other countries give it to their people as a basic human right. We are so in debt on student loans that we can't even buy houses when other countries invest in their people. And some of their schooling is actually free because they realize if you invest in the future, you will have one. There are so many things I could talk about on this channel that I don't. So this right here does not shock me. It doesn't shock me. non-binary, any type of gender identity, any type of sexuality identity, any type of race, ethnicity identity. It's always going to cause somebody a damn problem. When in reality, the biggest thing everybody can do, if you're not hurting anybody and you're not hurting yourself and you're living your best life and authentic self, then everybody do this thing called find a lane and keep your ass in it. What's wrong? What's wrong? I don't get it. I don't get it. Wolf Spider on Legends would be cool. Wolf Spider would be absolute. I would love the banter. I would love the banter. I would love him and Spoon. I would be okay with him and Spooner being BF, or him and Gary would be funny as BFFs. I think that would be funny. Maria, will you review Vox Machina on Prime? I saw the first 2 or 3 episodes. It's actually kind of funny. I might. We'll see. I need to catch up with all of those. I'm so behind. When we lost Power, I've been catching up on like so much, and I was already behind before then. So, with the Flash leaving, the Legends needs to be the new continuity to glue the Arrowverse together. So the Legends verse, that would be cool. Is it me or is Jaden Sheba looks like Justin Bieber jumbled up with Mystic Titan spell? I never thought about that before. I've never thought about Justin Bieber and Jaden looking the same. I guess I have to go back and look at that. Maria, take that message to the streets. I would vote for you. I appreciate it. Politics are a joke, though. Maria, would you ever do a channel with serious topics? I would subscribe. I like your perspectives. Possibly. Right now, the only one. Let me block this wonderful bot spammer. The only one I have right now, I have 2 channels. So I am going to have one with my girl Quarter Life Jam. We have that one. You guys probably already bookmarked it. The only reason we haven't started is because of work. Our jobs have been conflicting. But we have our shits. So it's called Shiz Talkers. So it's in the description link. That one is going to start having lots of real talk, and then mixed by genetics. But that's more of the mixed perspective. But sometimes we do veer into conversations like this. So. But those are the 2 that are the ones that are going to have the content that you're probably looking for. Shiz Talkers definitely will, because we get things from every perspective. So, yeah, and it's kind of interesting, too, because she's in her quarter life and I'm in my 40s. So it's always cool to have those 2 different views about how, where you are in your life and how perspectives change and how goals change and, how society looks at you differently when you're older and versus when you're in quarter life, and how they don't expect as much when you're in quarter life. It's all perspective. So I think it's cool. Where is the podcast? I'll support that as well. Maria's Real Talk. I need to get time, guys. I want to do so many videos. There's so many things I want to do. And then I'm like, I'm going to write down. I have so many outlines. I have notebooks of outlines and stuff I want to do. And then I'll look at my schedule and I'm like, when the hell am I going to do this? I'm like, when am I going to do this? So on top of trying to get caught up and back on track before Charm, because Charm starts in March. So I'm going to have Arrowverse and Charmed and God knows when Motherland's coming back and all the things. So on top of that, I am so behind on my Approach to Yuri channel. I've not posted in like 2 or 3 months. I have to do that. I have to get content going on that channel again. My Mixed by Genetics. Luckily, I've been doing collaborations with Victoria, so I've been able to do them, but I haven't been able to do any of my single videos. I have not had time. I have my motion comic that I've been working on for 2 years because we're trying to get it to come out in October. So trying to get all the bios done, the character designs are done, trying to get the music done. Like, it's just a process. So that has been sucking up time. I also work Monday through Friday from home, 11 to 8, and I do voiceovers. So like there's not really a day off for me at all. I'm always doing something. When I leave this stream, I'm working on a Valentine's Day gift that I'm making for River because we like to make each other gifts every year. And yeah, that's going to take a few hours. So I'm like, there's never a time when I'm not doing something. There's never a time. Like, it's actually exhausting. Like, the only downtime I had is when my lights were out. But then it was like 16 degrees. So I was dying inside. So yeah, I do want to like do all of these things. I just have to figure out how. Or I just need to figure out how to split myself into multiple people, because I think that would be very cool. I get a lot more done. I really think I would get a lot more done. But right now, like, me and River will be watching a show, Real Talk, and we get so busy when we start looking through and we're like, what were we watching? Can't even fucking remember what we were watching on TV because we're so busy. We don't know anymore. It's weird. It is really, really weird. Let's see. Maria, why don't you astral project while you sleep to get more things done? I want to. Oh my gosh, do I want to do that? Like even right now, I'm gonna have to spend a few hours messing around with my webcam because I haven't been using my SLR for webcam or for live streams because I'm tired of it turning off and I don't know why it's doing that. And I'm really good with cameras, but something reset my video and it's been driving me nuts. I've been staring at it a lot. So if you see me looking up here, my monitor's up here, and I'm like, all of my settings got warped, and I have to figure out what's happening. But that's going to take a lot more time. So yeah, like, I need to astral project. Oh, you and your friend wants to talk real talking. Hey, rising toxicity in the PR fandom from woke inclusion. I got something to say. Oh Lord. Will Batwoman get a next season? Probably. Because they love it. I don't think it's great reviews. It's so weird. Do Blurred and Jet know each other? Yes. And get like a Memphis Trinity thing going. It's a timing thing. I mean, I barely have time to say anything to Blurred. I just don't have time. I don't think he has a day job. I think he's able to do videos and stuff from home. I have 2 other jobs. So I'm always going. So yeah, I'm busy. So you think that Wanda should be taken out by a current MCU Illuminati roster due to her level of multiversal threat? I mean, honestly, she should be on a whole other roster. She's a Nexus being. That makes no sense. You can't put her in the same category as a regular, meta. You can't put her in the category. I mean, when you have the ability to not only alter, but to recreate an entire universe, that's OP shit right there. So the only thing that saves everybody from Wanda is unstable. That is literally her Achilles heel, is that she's unstable as hell. If she was stable and conniving and strategical, they would be effed. And who knows, when we see Doctor Strange 2, we may see that version. So we'll see. I don't know. I am excited to see because I kind of feel like Wanda's going to be the vision, like the actual villain of that. So. Do you watch Peacemaker? Yes, I do, girl boss. I did a stream on the latest 2 episodes of, I believe it was Friday night. So it should be on there. What is your job, or is it secret? I never knew what it was. So my main job, I work in nonprofit world, and I work right now I'm working with mental health. I was working for the National Kidney Foundation. Now I work with mental health, getting people basically, in with people that can help them with their life struggles or whatever they're dealing with coping wise, trauma, PTSD, and things like that. Very draining job, especially when I have to hear the stories from some of the people that call in. You cannot do this job if you're not empathetic. So let's just say when I leave work, sometimes I hear things that I can't unhear, and it's very hard. So, comic books and stuff have always been like my outlet. That and anime and certain games have been my outlet for the stressors of real life, because I've always had jobs that were very deeply impacted by real life in ways that you're not able to let it go. So there's that. And then my other job is I do voiceovers. I do commercials. I've done animations, video game stuff. So like that's my other job. So it is a thing. And then I'm also doing my own project, the Words of Sarah. So busy, busy. All right. So we are at 1 hour and almost 50 minutes. Oh, Lord. Is everybody tired? I'm tired. I'm exhausted, guys. All right. So Arrowverse weekly recap. You know what I think. I love to know what you guys think. And like you said, it is not a prerequisite of being on my channel that you agree with anything that I say at any time. I am not going to get on here and be like, you are trash. I don't do that. Now, if you come at me a certain way, that's a whole other issue, but I'm not going to do that. It is your right, your lane to believe and achieve and strive and do whatever the hell you want. So if you like any of these shows, and you disagree with points that I made, that's fine. Put it in the comments. You're not going to get deleted or banned. Now, if you say something weird, YouTube will ban you. Just don't say Maria's doing it. YouTube is very weird. And please don't use the words queer. Like you can't use queer. You can't use gay, I think. For some reason, the algorithm will delete your comment. It is not me doing it. It is YouTube. I don't know why. But you can test it. If you put anything with the word queer on my channel, it'll last for maybe like a minute or so, and then it'll just automatically disappear, and I will never get it. So if you start putting things on there and you notice that I'm not reacting or I didn't say anything, it's probably because I didn't get it. So just putting it out there. But yeah, make sure you put things in the comments that we want to talk about. Keep this trail going. Let us know for, just what we didn't talk. If I missed something, please call me out on it, because I probably did. I mean, it is the Arrowverse. 9 times out of 10, I did not. And Emmanuel, I'm sorry you're tired of never seeing me for so long. It is not intentional. It could not be helped a week ago because I legit had no power in my house for 4.5 days. So there's that. But it is a thing. Let's see. When you see me, thanks for making interesting reactions. Glad you're back. Levi, I don't know what's a pile of BS. Please elaborate. I would love to know. I will have my Batwoman video coming to you. I'm trying to get it out this week. Basically, how I would fix Batwoman is something I've been working on, so I'm very proud of it. So I'm trying to get that out. I also have a Wildcat spotlight video that I'm trying to, it's just one, there's something in one of the images I use. It's just crashing the entire process when I render it. It's driving me insane. I had a similar issue with a previous video a few months ago. It just would not render. It was an audio problem. So I'm trying to figure out what it is so I can get it out, but it's a process because I don't want to take everything out of this video. I need to go one by one and render and find it. And it's just a time thing. So that is coming, but this is more of an error issue or technical issue. So bear with me. My Wildcat spotlight video is coming. And so is the Batwoman one coming. So that one is definitely coming. As for some of the newer reviews, I just have to see. I know that we don't have Arrowverse this week, but I do plan on Friday. Definitely Friday, we'll be doing Peacemaker. So Peacemaker episode 8 will be reviewed on Friday with Groove. And then Saturday, I have another collaboration video coming out. So you probably Friday at the latest is the earliest you will see me this week after the stream. Does not mean I will not put out another video if I get this other one fixed. So be on the lookout. But yeah, I'm tired. I am tired. So, guys, if it is day for you, have a very good day. If it is evening for you, have a very good evening. And if you don't see me before Friday, have a good week. Bye, guys.